Here chaos sorts itself into a world, a brief formation drifting in the void, ebbings of knowledge, unfinished hours of power, flamings of beauty into earthly shade, love's broken reflexes of unity, swim, fragment mirroring to a floating sun. There is seated in the void the omniscient being himself. It is the void of the omniscient being. The omniscient being has emptied himself and has become the void. He has withdrawn himself. Therefore, he is still there behind this void. Because he is there, he knows everything. This being knows everything. He is the All Supreme. And when he has emptied himself out, he has emptied himself out with a purpose. There has to be a purpose of this void as his house. Ashwapati is set to discover it, set to discover that purpose. He looks intently into the sky. He carried the aspiration of the world to bring down a greater world, here in this mortal creation. He has glimpsed a glory that must come down, that must become his home. That glory must become his home here. It must become the home of this mortal world. There is the ideal. That ideal must become nature's pervasive truth. It should become real. The ideal should become real in the workings of nature, in that pervasiveness. Even the body must become the dwelling house for the unborn God. Body must become the dwelling house for the unborn God. All that comes in its way of that body becoming the dwelling house of the unborn God. All that comes in its way of the unborn God taking birth in it. All that is faulty and defective, all that is full of blemishes, all that is small and petty, all that is ugly and sordid, this littleness, these misfits, these imperfections, all had to go away. They had to disappear. They must give place to things lofty and noble and divine. Now it is chaos here. Knowledge is just an imitation. Power is only a segment. Love, but is only the broken piece of mirror reflecting a floating sun. A broken piece of mirror reflecting a floating sun. That is what love is here. There doesn't seem to be an ideal answer for all our longings, all our hopes, all our expectations. Ashwapati sees the doubtfulness of all things here, their incertitude, their transience, their quick failure following every success. Yet there is something in Ashwapati, something deep within him. It is that which swears optimism in him. There has to be a greater destiny for the ignorance bound, for this death-bound creature of the earth, a greater destiny for this mortal. There has to be something. That is the optimism Ashwapati is carrying in his soul. That something must be pursued. It must be discovered and established here. It must be founded as the dynamic truth of life. That is the urge which drives Ashwapati. And he is not going to spare any effort in achieving it, in fulfilling that urge of his, of establishing the dynamism of truth in life. A lone forerunner of the Godward earth, among the symbols of yet unshaped things, watched by closed eyes, mute faces unborn, he journeys to meet the incommunicable, hearing the echo of a single steps in the eternal course of solitude. Man is a thinking being. He stands between the beast and God. He is the only one who thinks in an unthinking world, in the world of matter and life, where there is no thought. It is only he, man, who thinks. He thinks in this unthinking world. The island he occupies is an unthinking island. He lives in a world, in the sea of the unknown. Man's consciousness is an unsteady flame, wavering, flickering. It's a flickering flame. At one moment it is bright, at another moment it becomes dim and dull. It is an unsteady consciousness, now lit, now smothered. Yet for man, there awaits a greater destiny. He is not aware of a greater destiny, but that greater destiny is there for him. There is hesitancy, there is indecision in accepting it. There is uncertainty of everything, uncertainty of success, that too accompanied constantly by failure. There is success, but immediately follows the failure. For one who has concern about these matters, these uncertainties, these doubts, these hesitancies, he has something to do. He has to beat the challenge. He has a concern of the situation, and that has to be met. The issue has to be settled. Ashwapati's soul retires from all that he has done. Silence is his sole companion. He is impassive. He is unaffected by hopes and longings of the terrestrial creature. He paces the vast spaces of his thoughts. There is a call on him, and he dwells in the wideness of the eternal's realm. A golden influx floods his heart and brain. A force comes down into his mortal limb. There is the rush of the timeless joy in his body. Ashwati becomes aware of his occult source, from where he has come, the divine source from which he has come. He becomes aware of it, and he turns to his immense spiritual fate. All the great and grand things of earth nature are left behind. He must meet the force. He must plead to her to take the mortal birth. She must take the mortal birth to remove mortality from birth. He is a constant climb to meet the infinite above. He is climbing the ascending slopes of heaven. He is a ray returning to the source of light from which it came. He is a ray returning to the parent sun. There is the opposition of the inconscient dragon, the dark ferocious energy crawling in the thickness of the night. But she cannot harm the soul and the spirit of Ashwapati. She cannot harm them, his spirit and his soul. In fact, death lies beneath him like a gate of sleep. He yet pedestals like a cone of swift burning fire. He climbs up and rises up, shoots up into the sky like a swift burning fire. Ashwapati is driven by a pointing hand of light. He becomes a pilgrim of everlasting truth. The cosmic murmur and noise and turmoil fall still. He lives in the hush that was there before the worlds were born. The primordial hush from which broke out the word. Compulsions of created things had no sway over Ashwapati. He is a lone forerunner of the Godward earth. Forerunner of the Godward earth. That is what Ashwapati is. He journeys to meet the incommunicable. He must meet him in the course of solitude. Ashwapati is filled with the strength and knowledge of a nameless marvel. His spirit mingles with the heart of eternity. Ashwapati bears the silence of the infinite.